Did you know that I have a superpower? Yes, I do, and I'm going to show it to you today. And I have the superpower of being able to slice fruit with my finger. Check it out. Let's use this banana here. I need my banana stand holder. Here we go. Ready? Just sharpen it up a little bit. One more. Ta-da! There you go. Isn't that great? Wait, I guess I have to show you. Here we go. Already as I peel it, this is a very thickly peeled banana. You can see that it is sliced already in its goodness. How did it do that? It's a superpower. I told you. Okay then. Well, I told you I had a superpower. All right. Well, welcome to this week's 10 Talk. And our fruitrabute that we're looking at this time is gentleness. And you know what? My most vivid picture of gentleness took place in 1996. I'm old. That's right. Yeah, just take the hit. It's okay. I know you weren't alive yet. But it's the most vivid picture of gentleness that I can remember in my lifetime. And basically there was a gorilla named Banty Jua, and she was at the Brooksfield Zoo in the enclosure there. And one day a 3-year-old toddler fell into the gorilla enclosure and was lying there unconscious amongst all these gorillas. Well, Binti, this mother gorilla, ran over to him and cradled this unconscious 3-year-old in her arms, then protected it from other gorillas and was gentle, and eventually moved over to an opening in the enclosure, a doorway where workers were waiting, and she finally got there and left the boy so the workers could get the boy. It was amazing. I remember seeing it on video. You can even look it up on YouTube now. But it's an amazing picture. And what it is, it's a picture of controlled power. The gorilla could have torn this toddler apart, and maybe some of the other gorillas would have. But Binti was tender and gentle with the boy and literally saved his life. You see, in our world today, we view gentleness sometimes as being weak or even wimpy. Being gentle is not always seen as a good characteristic, and it can even be seen as a bad characteristic for someone to have. So when Paul adds gentleness to the fruit of the Spirit, the list that he gives, what's he talking about? Is he asking us and telling us to be wimps for Jesus? No, not at all. You see, you can't have gentleness without power. You understand what I'm saying? You can't have gentleness without power. No one told the 3-year-old toddler, be gentle to the gorilla. No one said that. It's preposterous, because the gorilla had all the power. Binti showed great gentleness with the boy. Why? Because Binti held back his power. See, gentleness is actually the opposite of wimpy. A biblical view of gentleness is power under control. All right? In John 8, verses 3 to 11, there's a great example of Jesus being gentle when the scribes and Pharisees, teachers of the law, and they brought to him a woman who was caught in adultery, which is adultery is being unfaithful to your spouse. And they're trying to catch Jesus with questions and words. See, the law called for her to be stoned to death, which means being killed by rocks. That's not a great way to die. Talk about being bullied to death, really. They were trying to catch Jesus in a conundrum. And they asked him what to do. And I want to read to you what Jesus did here from John 8. I'm going to read from the last half of verse 6 to 11. And it says this. But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." That's an amazing passage of Jesus' gentleness, because the only person there who could have thrown a stone at her would have been Jesus. He's the only one without sin. He is the Son of God. He could have punished her for her sin right there and condemned her to death, but instead, he showed great control and restraint and guided her and let her have a second chance to go and leave her life of sin. He had all the power, but yet he showed gentleness. You see, Jesus was powerful and Jesus was gentle. Just last week we celebrated Easter, and I'm always struck at how gentle Jesus was as he was charged, beaten, and crucified, even forgiving those who were murdering him and offering salvation to a criminal next to him while being mocked by another. And as I mentioned recently in a previous Tent Talk, he gently restored Peter after his resurrection. Jesus was the epitome of power under control. He's the epitome of gentleness. You see, when my son was born a long time ago, he was born premature and he had some health complications, and he weighed just 2 pounds. He was a really little baby and a very sick baby, and he needed surgery right away. And I remember being struck at the efficiency, professionalism, and gentleness that the doctors and the paramedics exhibited on the day that he was born. They had to work fast to get him intubated so he could breathe, and place needles in his arms and wrists and legs so that he can get much needed fluids and medication. And that picture is seared in my mind of these big, powerful hands the paramedics had. They had big hands. And my son was so small. And even though they were putting needles in him and different, they were so gentle. And it's the picture I have of God holding us in his hands as he takes care of us. And he has all the power, but yet he is gracious and compassionate, and he is gentle with us. As Jesus followers, we have the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead living inside of us. We have that power within us. It's actually the same Spirit that was planted in us and is trying to produce the fruit of the Spirit that we're talking about. You see, God did not flex his might against us, but instead used his might and power to save us because of his love for us. God has been gentle with us. So we should be gentle with others as well, pointing them to Jesus. In the New Living Translation, there's a verse, and it just says this in Proverbs 15:4, "Gentle words are a tree of life." As Jesus followers, we should be gentle like Jesus. So go be gentle. See you later.